Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama. I am so excited because I have Whitney here today. Whitney, take it away.
So, hello, I am Whitney LeBaron, and I am a teacher, but I am also on the side a travel agent, and I am with Castle Explorers.
Love that. So, Whitney, you specialize in Disney and Universal vacations. What sparked this idea to go to be a travel agent?
So, at the time, I was kind of on a break. I was a stay at home mom, and we had gone on our first family Disney trip. It was back in 2018, like that summer, and we knew we wanted to go more. And I ended up using a travel agent for a portion of our second trip. And I happened to find her through this Facebook group, and I got on there, and then someone was asking for help. This group was getting big. They needed a moderator. And so I signed up to be a moderator, and they gave me the travel agent application instead. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like that's not me. I just was going to help moderate this group. But then I was like, well, I mean, I can do it. Like it's not
Yeah.
that hard. It's not as easy as you think. There's so much more that goes into it. But I just loved, the feeling we got when we went on our, first family vacation to Disney. And, I've always loved Universal. I grew up going there pretty much every spring break from like middle school to high school. And yeah, so this opportunity just kind of literally landed in my lap. But it wasn't the best time because I signed up January of 2020. I got through, like, my training and stuff, and as soon as I was ready to book, I was, like, sending out quotes, getting ready to get people booked, and then the world shut down. But it worked out because it gave me plenty of time to not feel like, I was just thrown into it, and I was kind of able to do a little more research on my own and play around with things, so it gave me the time I needed to really dive into it, so
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, yeah. So, I love me some Disney. Let's call a spade a spade. I love me some Disney too.
Mhm.
And I actually got into it for the same thing. In my mind, it was, oh, I'm going to become this travel agent. I'm going to focus on Disney. And then it's going to be what pays for me to go to Disney. And
Mhm.
Miss Whitney here was one of the higher ups that kind of took me under her wing and taught me a whole bunch of things about traveling. And it really honestly is such a fun side hustle. I really truly believe that it is a fun side hustle. What is your biggest tip for somebody that's booking with you to go to Disney?
Ooh, it's hard because you hear so much out of people, and
Mhm.
for me, our biggest struggle was we didn't think we could afford it. We just like my husband, he was the one that initially booked our first trip, and he was like, "If we keep saying we can't afford it, we're never gonna go." He's like, "We just have to do it." And he kind of went all out and spent a little too much on that first trip, but we have learned so many things. And like when people come to book with me, my whole thing is I want as many families to travel as possible. Even if you don't think it's within your budget, I'm going to do whatever I can to get you the lowest possible price just so you can get there and be there with your family and experience the magic. But it's just taking that leap of faith and just doing it. You can't hold on to your money forever. Like it doesn't go with us when we die. And I know we need to have things to get by. Like, you don't obviously want to go without making your house payment because you're going to Disney. Don't do that. But if you have any wiggle room, just do it because you will never look back and say, I wish we didn't go on that trip.
Oh,
And that goes
100%.
for any trip. I mean, really anywhere. But Disney is so magical. It's so
It's so
magical.
magical, especially when you have littles. Like I remember I was bringing my son, he was 1. And a lot of people were like, "Don't go, it's too early, he's not gonna remember." Yeah, but I do. I do. I have that giant picture of him kissing Mickey, and I'll never get that back. He'll never love Mickey as much as he did that trip, and I, like, live with that forever, and it's like, I did it, and I'm so happy that I did, so if anyone's listening that's like, "Oh, on the fence, they're not gonna remember." No, they're not, but you are, and they're never going to love the characters as much as they do right now. So just
Yep.
keep that in mind as well.
And they're free.
And they're
Even better,
free.
free until free.
Yeah, that is so, so true. Yeah, free until 3. I mean, all we took them all. That was honestly our in our back of our mind why we went when they were so young because it was like, "Oh, well, they're free. Oh, well, they're free. Oh, they're free."
And we didn't know that, like, because we
Mm-mm.
just always assumed, oh, it's so expensive. when our son, when we had only him, we just assumed we couldn't afford it. So we never even looked into that. So I never knew that kids were free before 3. Otherwise, maybe we would have tried to go, but we just never did. And then my daughter, like I think she was like 22 months on our first trip. So she
Love
was
it.
free the first couple trips that we took. Because we took advantage of that whole year
Yeah.
was too. But, yeah, it's just something you gotta do, and those videos, like, I look back on those of her, like, at Chef Mickey's that we have one, and just she was kind of, like, afraid of him, but as long as they, like, kept their distance, like, when he came to the table, she was talking to him, and then when he left, she was just like, "Bye, love you," and I'm like, I have that video forever to remember, and then she looks back and she goes like, "Oh, I was so cute." But,
That is
yeah.
so sweet. Another thing too that I didn't know was when you go to the restaurants, like Be Our Guest, right? Our last one, Luke, he was there and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's not going to eat something so big." And they were like, "Well, we can give him this or this." And they give you options for free because they're under 3. So, make sure
Yep.
I had no idea and I had been to Disney countless times by then and was a travel agent. I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean that they eat for free?" So, that was really
Yeah.
good to know.
Yep, because we had the dining plan when we went on that first trip, and we had the deluxe dining plan. I'm glad they did away with that. That was way too much food. But like I said, our daughter was free at the time. But yeah, we went to Be Our Guest, and yeah, they just brought her out a whole meal. And I'm like, we didn't pay for that. I mean, we were paying enough as it was, but like, I was shocked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
I
was
know.
awesome.
Sometimes they just, like, get you. Yes, yes, I get the money aspect. Honestly, I'm not blind. I mean, here we are being money hungry mamas to do the things we love, to take our kids
Yep.
on these vacation, to, like,
Right.
enjoy life. But at the same exact time, there is something so magical about going. I remember my cousin was like, "Brittany, like, you have to do something else. Take the kids on a different trip." When they can sit down at a restaurant and we all will enjoy our meals without any meltdowns or needing to run out of the place, then I will absolutely go see that world. But for
Yep.
now, Epcot's working really well.
Yes, exactly. I know. Like, I just took my kids the first time they went out of the country was on our Disney cruise a couple months ago, and I was a little bit hesitant because 'cause I'm like, with them being the age they are to, like, go out of the country, like, that can be a little bit scary, but I was like, "But on the cruise, like, we're just getting off at the port, and then we're getting back on," and then 2 of our stops were on Disney's private islands
Yeah.
anyways, and I had no qualms there, but, yeah, it was funny because my son so he is 14, and when we got off in Nassau, I was like, "We just need to go to the straw market, like, you need to experience this, even if it's just one time, like, you need to experience it." And that was my second time going into the straw market, and he was, like, freaked out. My daughter was loving it because everyone was like, "Oh, here, you want this?" She's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Shh, like, no, no, you don't." But my son was like, "Can we go back on the boat? I'm done, I'm done." Like, he did not like it at all. But I was like, "Well, you got to experience Nassau, and now we're back on the boat."
This is traveling. This is traveling, which is so
Yep.
true because what do you find most as a travel agent? Are more people gearing towards the Disney trips like Walt Disney World, California, cruises? Like which one do you find?
So it's kind of a toss up. I've seen a little bit more cruising lately, and it
Mhm.
could be because the cruise lines are like really trying to compete. They're coming out with new ships. They're trying to, have run better deals and specials to make it more affordable for people. But a lot of people are still gunning for Disney. And now, because Universal just opened their newest park, Epic Universe, a lot of people are wanting to go there. I get it. It looks amazing, and it's killing me that I haven't gone yet, but I knew I had no intentions of going the first year, just because I figured it would be super busy, but I feel like it's less busy right now than it was during all the preview stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so
I
I'm
also
like,
think
I
because
don't
they had so many issues.
Yes, they did, and I was like, "Ugh, I want them to work all that out before I go there.
Yeah.
I don't wanna wait 3 hours in line for something and then have it shut down and it doesn't open back up
Yeah.
for the day that I'm there." So and there's not a lot of shade there right now because all of their trees have just been planted. So it's gonna be a long, long time before that park gets shady. I'm not staying away that long. Like,
Yeah.
I'm hoping to go within this next year sometime, especially because I am dying to see the Isle of Berk. Everything looks
Looks
amazing.
so good.
But I love How to Train Your Dragon, and, like, my son, after we went and saw the live action, he was like, "When are we going? Like, why do we not have a trip on the books?" It's just like, it's not in the cards right now.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny too because I think that is one of the biggest perks about being a travel agent is that CLIA card and being able to use your discount. So for anybody listening that really loves travel, pay attention because I'm gonna tell you right now, this is you're gonna even be like, "Brittany, what is wrong with you?" I didn't realize that I could get the deals at Disney too. I never used it. Is that
Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I use mine. I was excited I finally got to use a Disneyland perk on this last trip. I got to utilize my free one-day park hopper ticket when I just
Oh
went
my
last
god.
month. I never thought I was gonna use that because 'cause I'm like, "When am I ever gonna be able to make it out there?" Because it is not as cheap to fly to LA as it is for me to fly to Orlando.
Yeah.
But yeah, after going, I'm like, "Oh, I've gotta get my family out there." And for me, like, they have the 3 resorts, and yes, I can use a travel agent rate on those. But even with the travel agent rate, I'm not gonna lie, at Disneyland, it's still so much cheaper to stay at one of the off-site resorts, like one of the Good Neighbor hotels that
Yeah.
partners with Disney, and it's still there's plenty that are within walking distance, and so for me, if I take my family, unless I'm being hosted by Disney, which, do not think that's happening, where they take my family and I for free to go stay at a Disney resort out there, we will be staying off-site on property, and some people are like, "Oh, no, no, no." Now, if you're going to Disney World, 100% I am going to steer you in the direction of stay on site there because you can't just walk to the parks.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're staying in the boardwalk area, you can walk to Epcot. But other than that, like I'm gonna try to encourage you to stay within the Disney bubble there. But I feel like you're still in the Disney bubble in California if you're at one of those close offsite good neighbor hotels. But yeah,
That's really good.
that's the thing is like a lot of people just they don't know. They don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So now I want to talk about how you did your branding. You got as a travel agent, you can literally book everywhere. Like you can do sandals, you can do, anywhere. You can book anything that you want. But you zoned in and made yourself a niche. Why did you do that?
So I feel like I say my specialties. I say they are Disney and Universal. Those are my like 2 main specialties. And then I throw in cruising and all inclusives because that's what I feel the most comfortable booking. But Disney and Universal, just because I have gone there so many times, I am so familiar with the resorts, the parks, and just their booking systems. And yes, they are more work. Me is the most work out of all because you have, if people want dining reservations and the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique or the building them with the droids and, lightning lane selections and all of that, there's so much that goes into a Disney booking. If people want your help for that, not everybody does, but some people do. And I'm like, I'm here for that. So that a lot of people are now trying to step away from Disney because it is more work and, cruises and all inclusives are easy, you
Yeah,
know?
very easy.
But even though it's more work, I just feel like that is what I'm so passionate about. And sometimes I have been on a phone call with clients for over an hour because we just get talking about it. And I'm like, just tell me to stop if I'm too much. And they're like, no, I love it. I can tell you're really passionate about it. And I'm like, I really am. It's like, just
Favorite.
get going. And I'm like, I have all this information to give. And it's like, I have a really hard time when I hear people like out and about, like saying stuff. And I want to be like, oh, I can chime in. And then I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. And sometimes my kids will look at me and they're like, Mom, or sometimes they'll encourage it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that's opening a can of worms with me. Like,
Oh my gosh.
but
Yeah, I think also too, like for anybody listening that is thinking about becoming a travel agent, when you niche down, you want to make sure that it is something that you know about because coming from somebody that this is one of the hustles that I tried. As we know, I've tried like over 30 at this point. This was one of my hustles that I tried. There is so much to learn about all these things. And what you're saying right now about not being confident, let me tell you right now, I had somebody asked me to help them with some trip in Mexico. I had never been to that place. I had been once when I was in 8th grade. I knew nothing. It was more work for me to try to YouTube and Google and figure out spots than it was for me to take the trip. And I just had to deny it at that point because she had come with me to Disney multiple times, but
Mhm.
I was just not confident sending you somewhere that I've never been. That's just how my mindset is. Like if I've never personally been there, I'm not going to send you there.
Yeah, that's what I struggle with. So like, and people think like, oh, you only book Disney and Universal. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Like I went to St. Lucia with sandals back in September. And let me tell you, oh my gosh, I loved it. And now I'm like, I wish I could get more people there, but like, yeah, it's expensive. And yeah, that one is adults only. And most people that come to me are, you know, people with children and all of that. And yes, there's beaches, but most people are wanting to do the Disney or the Universal while their kids are little. Now, once they get a little bit older, those all inclusives might seem a little bit more enticing to them. But I mean, they are amazing. Don't get me wrong. That was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And I'm like, oh, I wish my husband and I could go there. But yeah, it's hard. But like, yeah, if you're not confident in what you're selling, it's really hard. And like you said, you find yourself like trying to Google things and look stuff up. And like with my agency, we are all so supportive of one another and we have amazing training that we receive on all the things. And, you know, if there is someone that comes to me and wants to book a trip to Europe, I'd be like, yeah, I can do it, but it's going to take some time. And for me, the commission I'm going to make on that probably isn't worth the amount of time I'm going to have to research to make
Yeah.
sure these people have the most amazing trip. So what I can do is I can go to one of my, friends who specializes in that and I can say, "Here, I've got this referral for you," and let my clients know like, "Hey, I am not super confident in this. I will still be here along the way, but I'm going to pass you off to my friend here." And then she will get most of the commission, but I will get a little bit of it because
Oh,
I
smart.
pretty much gave up a client to her. Now, I haven't had that happen, but we are all like
Yeah.
very, very good about like, hey, if you need help, if you don't feel like doing this, like I can do it, we'll split, some commission or whatever. But yeah, it is very important to be confident in what you are selling because you don't want to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Like there's nothing more embarrassing than that. And for me, I'm honest, if I have usually I can answer any question a client has like right off the top of my head, but there are times when I don't know the answer. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to give you inaccurate information. I'm going to make sure I ask someone, look it up,
Mhm.
figure out, and give you the correct answer. But yeah, sometimes people will stump me. I'm like, ooh, I haven't had that one before. Like, I don't
Gotta go
know.
Google that real
It
quick.
doesn't happen a lot, but there have been a couple times.
For sure, for sure. And also, like, when we talk about branding and niching down, what has been your biggest, like, way that you're attracting clients?
So I feel like I'm going to not go as much now, but I try to go to the parks as often as I can. I live in Michigan. I'm not near anything fun other than, I mean, Cedar Point's pretty cool. That's a couple hours away, but I don't sell Cedar Point. I don't think they work with travel agents. But for me, I am an annual pass holder to Walt Disney
Mhm.
World. I'm not going to renew that this year because if I do go back into teaching full time, I need to step back and not take as many trips. But there was a year where I went, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 times to Disney World on my pass that one year. And I was like, what? I never in a million years, 6 years ago, that Whitney would have never ever believed that this was my life now. Like I would have been, oh my
Wow.
gosh, like, no, 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 we can't afford it. We can't afford it. But I've, learned the tips and tricks and as a travel agent and like, having my CLIA card and this or that. So yes, I have my annual pass that comes out of my pocket, but I can use it as a tax write-off as well. As long as I am getting content, I'm not just fiddle farting around with my family on every trip. And that's really hard too because some people will try to write off like an entire trip with their family and I'm like maybe like part of it, but like unless you're working, like, so much of the trip, you're
Yeah.
not supposed to write it off. So I don't write off nearly as much as I probably could just because 'cause I'm, like,
Yeah.
paranoid about that stuff, and I'm like, I am not, like, getting in trouble for tax evasion. So I'm just like, "Nope, I'm good. I'm happy with what I've got going." But, yeah, like, posting a lot on my
Mhm.
social media about Disney, Universal, and, then I throw in the cruises and the all-inclusives too. But when I am on my trips, even the family trips, I am getting as much content as I
Yeah.
can while also still trying to live in the moment. So I will post on my stories a lot when I am traveling, but I don't tend to have like a static post. as much as I would if I was home. I try to post pretty much like every other day. If I get lucky, sometimes I'll post like 2 days in a row as a static post or whatnot. But in my stories, when I'm on vacation, I'm trying to be present in my stories. So people are like, oh, hey, she's there again. My gosh. And just letting people know, like, I'm staying up to date on all the changes and
For sure.
whatnot that are happening by going. And even if I'm not able to go into the parks, I'm posting, changes and stuff to show like, hey, like I do know this is going on. But I think that's really helped is just posting about it all the time. But because I have so much Disney content, that's why people tend to think I only book Disney, even though I don't know how many times I've made posts. I can book anything, even your one night stay in Pennsylvania, like I did the other weekend. I literally took my laptop and booked our hotel room through Expedia on the way there, and I got my, well, probably like $5 in commission. But hey, I counted
Something.
towards my bookings.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that little stuff that people don't realize. Like, yep, I can just do your one night stay to no man's land for
Yep.
you. Like, I
Yep.
tell people, like, if you can find it on Expedia, I can book it for you. And I can probably get you a better rate than what you're going to see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so true, and that was, like so I live in New Jersey for everybody listening, and that was the hardest part for me because I did it just strictly for Disney because that's really the only place I've been in a very long time, and I focused solely on that, so when we would go on a trip, it was, like, the whole entire time I was taking content because I had to batch as much as I could knowing we only went once a year. So
Yeah.
that once a year trip had to hold me with content the whole entire time, so, I've seen travel agents that are there all the time, but they live closer to the parks than we do. So you just have to
Yes.
know that if this is something that you do want to do, just do it wisely. Like I have a best friend that she's going 4 times this year. I would just text her and be like, "Hey, take all the pictures and send them to me." So even if you know
Yeah.
people going that don't have a problem doing that for you, we
Mm-hmm.
literally just shared a Google photo folder and that's what I used as my content because I was just not going as enough. And you also just want to stand out because I will say if you go and you search Disney travel agents, there are going to be quite a few, right? So you want to find ways where you're going to kind of stand out against everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your presence is that's kind of standing out against all the other ones?
So for me, like when you book with me, you are getting me no matter what. I don't have an assistant. For me, yes, I want to make as much money doing this as I can. And most of this funds, our vacations, what I'm making for this, which is great. But I don't take on more than I can handle because this is my side gig. I do work during the day. And so I try not to overwhelm myself. And because I'm also a mom, like that's my number one role. I am a mother and I can't ignore my kids. Like I can't be at school all day with my students and then come home and neglect my kids just to solely, you know,
Yeah.
do everything for the travel agency. And so it's hard. I'm a night owl. Like I go to bed late and I get up early because I do a lot of my work after my kids go to bed. Now, there are things I have to do while they are awake, but I can wait on hold with Disney and, play a game with my
Yeah.
daughter in the meantime. There's ways around it, but yeah, it's crazy. I so that's what I pride myself on is like you get me and you're kind of getting like if you want a little Disney bestie or Universal bestie, like I'm there. I have a client who got on a Disney cruise today. She's from Canada, and this is the third cruise she's booked with me in like the past year.
Yeah.
And she found me on social media. Um, and she was like, I think she was my first like client that I had actually gotten strictly from social media. And I was like, my gosh. And so she and her daughter and her mom and dad went on a cruise, I think in February. And then she booked another cruise for this coming February, like two back to back cruises. And then she reached out to me a few months ago and was like, you're going to think I'm crazy. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because I'm going to go solo when my daughter's with her dad. And she's like, I'm going to go in July on the Wish. And I was like, I don't think you're crazy. I said, me of all people, I am not the one that's going to think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, unless you want to join me. And I was like, she really wanted me to go with her. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, girl, I would. But we literally leave for Disney World on Saturday and her cruise comes back in on Friday. I was like, my husband would not be happy. I like, and he has let me do that before, not with clients, but I was just like, oh my gosh, like she literally, like we have become friends over the past
Yeah,
like 2 years that we've known each other through social media. And like she cared enough, like she wanted me to go on a trip with her.
that's
And
so
she only
sweet.
lives like just over the border in Canada. We're only a couple hours from each other. So we've talked about like our daughters are pretty much the same age, like meeting up to let them have a play date. And I'm like,
Yeah,
but yeah, like I try to be very personable and yeah, like, and I am not like a whole lot of other travel agents. If you have an emergency and you're at Disney and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't care if you call me. That's never happened. But if someone needed me, I would do
yeah.
whatever I could if there was anything that I could do. But I do say that I am available like 24/7. Like I said, if someone texts me and asks me a question and they're at Disney and it's midnight, but it's something that has to do with the next day, like, I'm not just gonna ignore that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer it. A lot of people are, like, very strict on their boundaries, and I get that, but for me, I'm like, well, if I asked a question, I mean, I don't think I would. I would probably wait until, but if there was an emergency and I reached out to my travel agent, I would want them to respond back to me.
No,
But I
for
would also
sure.
understand if they didn't. I wouldn't hold that against them for having
Yeah.
boundaries, but everyone's like, "No, when you go to work," and I'm like, "Well, when you teach, it's not
Yeah, I think that's it
you
too.
bring your work home still, like, you're not done when you leave that school." I wish it was that easy. They think we have the summers off. No. No.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're off, but we're planning things for the coming year.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that that's where your heart is too. I think it's that teacher of like nobody gets left behind. So like if they're asking questions, it's like yes, like I gotta answer this question because I was the same exact way. I had somebody
Yeah.
there that was in a storm and it like flooded really badly and all the parks were closed. So it was like one of the hurricanes and
Mhm.
she was like, "What did I do? What do I do?" But the hotel was great. They ended up accommodating having characters come into the hotel. So for anybody
Yeah.
listening that like, you're nervous about storms and things like that, they really do go above and beyond. Yeah, it stinks. I'm not saying it's not a
Mhm.
good time, but at the same exact time, like they do bring characters in, they do kind of help out. And any help desk there is probably the nicest person you're ever going to talk to in your life. Like hands
Yes,
down.
definitely. The cast members, like, I'm telling you, oh, I don't know what kind of training they do, but
Yeah.
they are amazing. The
So
only
sweet.
time I've ever encountered a rude cast member was this past trip to California at Lamplight Lounge. We
Really?
had someone rude, and we had a large group, and things were kinda confusing, and so, like, I kinda understood it, but I was like, "Ooh," like, this is not like, I've never in a million
Yeah,
years seen that at Disney. But yeah, and even at Universal, most people are pretty friendly. They might
for
not
sure.
be as friendly as the Disney cast
Yeah.
members, but let me tell you, one day I was there for my birthday, and me and my friend, because her birthday is only a few days before mine, and we had our birthday pins on, and it was like these cast members were, like, screaming from, like, a half a mile away, "Happy birthday." I'm like, "How do you even see my pin?"
I love it.
But at
I love
Universal, I
that.
was like, they were hardcore about the birthdays at Universal. It was so
Love that
funny.
that they make things like that so special. At Bippity Boppity Boutique, I took Ella for the first time, and she was Belle, and as she walked around, every single cast member called her princess, and that
Yes,
just made my heart so, like, happy because she really was like, "I'm a princess." I was like, "I know." We
I
got
love
home,
it.
and she was like, "Stop calling me Ella. I'm a princess."
Yeah, I love it, and I totally feed into that when I see the girls at the
Mhm.
parks, and my daughter lately, her thing it's so funny because she can be such a stink, like, we are in a funk with her right now with her attitude, but she will go out of her way wherever we're at, like, even in the grocery store, and she'll just look at someone and be like, "I like your shirt. I like the," and I'm like, so and someone was literally wearing, like, a plain white t-shirt, and she told him she liked their shirt, but I was like, "Well, that's really sweet of you," or, "I like your shoes. I like this. I like that." But she will especially when we were at Disney and, like, when we were on the cruise and, like, all the little girls and little boys, like, pointing out specific characters on their outfits or if they had a
That
dress
is
on, like,
so
"Oh, you
sweet.
look so beautiful. You're such a little princess." And I'm just like, "Ugh." Like, even she's doing it now. I just love it. It's
Oh
so
my
awesome.
gosh. That is so,
But
so
yeah,
sweet.
it's hard because, like, people ask, like, "Why do you do this? Why do you love Disney so much?" And it's like, when you're there, you aren't thinking about anything back home. That's why I am so excited to go next week because I have had a rough couple of weeks with all of the stress of everything going on in my life. And I'm like, I forgot I had a trip. And now I'm like, I get a week off from life. Like, I get to
Yep.
go be at Disney and forget about everything that's
Yep.
going on back home. It's going to suck when I get back, but that's okay because for 1 week, I'm going to forget about everything and I'm just going to live in the moment and be so happy and just going. And you see all these kids and even adults that maybe it's their first time or it doesn't even matter if it's the 10th time. I swear you go down Main Street and you see the castle and there's just something like
Yep.
I get so excited every single time I see
Yep.
it, or say I see Spaceship Earth because Epcot is my favorite, like, or the Tree of Life, like, it
Oh my
just
gosh, I need a
doesn't
trip.
get old. I'm just like, ugh, I love it so much. Like, I could literally just go and walk around the park, not ride anything, and I would be perfectly content just people watching. I was in line to get my picture in front of the castle one time. I was on a solo trip, or I was on a trip where like friends had already left and I was still at the park or whatnot. And I got in line for my picture, and there was a mother and daughter in front of me. And the daughter was probably like between 7 and 9 years old. She had on her first visit button, and she and her mom were getting pictures. And the cast member was like, "Oh, this is your first visit." And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh, look at the castle. Look at the—" And she was getting so excited. I'm crying in line behind. And I'm like, "Great. I'm crying, and I'm up next for pictures." And the photographer started crying. Like, I was like, I'm like, this is why I'm a travel agent. I literally said that to the photographer. I was like, this is why I do this because of this right here. Like, you see these people, and this little girl was just so excited. She kept turning around and looking at the castle. She couldn't even look at the camera.
Oh my
And I was like,
god.
these are going to be amazing photos of her. Like, she was just so excited. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you never get that moment, but like that first trip and just all of that, like seeing that. And so when I like have clients send me pictures and videos and stuff, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I pretty much cry every time because
Yeah.
I get so emotional about it. Like,
Yeah.
awesome. And everybody deserves to have that feeling. And even if you're, an old, like you see those videos sometimes where people are taking like the old people in the wheelchairs and it's their first trip. And I'm just like, I want to do that. That's goals. Like if I could take some random old person once I like am old and retired myself and I can take some person that's never gone their whole life, like,
I'm
and
doing
just
it.
pay for their trip. Like I would love to do that. I don't
Oh,
know how I'm going to get that kind of money. Maybe I'll have to start playing the
you're gonna
lotto
just
to—
keep doing your travel agent.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll just make a killing and yeah, and then I can just fund other people's trips instead of my own.
I love it. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's actually so I had a past podcast guest on here and they talk about your most insane thing that when you hit that, you know you made your business. So I think for you, that is if you're able to pay for somebody's trip,
Yeah,
that is yours. Mine
yeah,
is going to be having a Money Hungry Mama Summit with all the mamas at Disney. That is my
that would be amazing, and I'll plan it for you.
and done.
Maybe if you get that first and then I plan that, I can fund someone else's trip.
I love it. And we're done. And deal closed. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. Yeah, no, that
yeah, but no,
is
like, that's goals,
it's
like,
so true.
and it broke my heart one day because I was in a Young Fives classroom. And I would happen to be subbing that day. I was getting ready to go. I was going on a trip that summer. It was right before summer ended. I had actually taken over the class while the teacher went on maternity leave. And I'm sitting there and we're talking about things we're going to do over the summer. And the kids asked me, and I'm like, I always feel bad. But a lot of them know that I am a travel agent too. And, they know I'm the crazy Disney one. And so I said, well, I'm going to be going to Disney World. And some of the kids were like, oh, yeah, I've gone or whatnot. And then this one little girl was like, I'm never going to get to go. And I was like, don't cry. Don't cry. And I knew, knowing the family that she comes from, I'm like, she may never get a chance to go as a child. She may have to wait until she's an adult. But I said, you know what, honey? I said, it doesn't matter how old you are when you go on your first trip. I said, maybe you'll be a grown up, but when you go, I said, but I promise, I said, you'll be able to go sometime in your life. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, how can I take this child on a trip with me?
Yeah.
Like, I need to take, but she had like siblings too. And I'm like, I can't afford that. But
Immediately
that's like
in
my
my
thing.
head,
Like,
I'm like, how am I taking this kid to Disney?
yes, I'm like, okay, how I like, but that is my thing. Like, I want everybody to experience it. And if I could pay for everyone to go, I would.
Yeah. I mean, you said
But
it so
yeah,
nice. There's such like a magic to it. And like for everybody listening, like if you've never went before, I have a handful of friends that told me that they hate it, that they went when they were younger, all this stuff, right? They went with me or they went and I planned their trip and they literally walked away asking for another one. Like my one friend who swore she would never go back. Her and I have kids. We have kids the same exact age. They're best friends, and we went, and she loved it. And I was like,
Yeah.
"I know it. I know."
You know? Yeah.
I got there's something about watching your kids there too that you just cannot explain. It's like watching
Mhm.
them meet their favorite person in the whole entire world. And it's
Yeah.
like you just want to bottle that up and keep it forever because it's indescribable. I love it so much. I love it
It
so
is.
much.
And, like, with my son, so he was, like, 7.5 when we went on
Mhm.
our first trip, and I always feel guilty, like, I mean, that's still young for your
Yeah.
first trip, like, but for me, my daughter's been going since she was 22 months old, and so I'm like, "Oh, well, now I feel guilty he didn't have that." And so now I'm like, "Do I need another?" And I'm like, "No, I am done having babies." Like, that ship sailed a long time ago. But I'm like, "Okay, well, now I'm excited for, when the day
Yeah.
comes in hopefully, like, 15 plus years when I have a grandkid," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm going to soak that up." But it's just crazy because, like, my son still like, he
Yeah.
enjoys going. He's good if he does a half a day at the park and then goes back and hangs out at the resort, like, he's totally fine with that. But he's still like, he will go get pictures with characters. I think it was, like, 2 or 3 years ago. He had his cell phone, and he would do the group picture with us, but then he would ask to get a selfie with each of the characters, and I was kinda like, "Oh," like, he's or it's taking up more time, but now I'm like, "That is so cute," and, like, I'm so glad
Yeah.
that he still wanted to do that even though he's older. Because some people are like, "Don't you get sick of it?" And he's like, "No."
I
And I was
love
like, "Nope,
that.
I'm just turning him into a Disney adult," which
It's
is probably gonna be really bad for whoever he marries, but hopefully they just enjoy Disney as much, and if not, then move on to the next one because that's not gonna work with our family. Like,
oh
if you
my
don't like
god.
Disney, you're out. Like, anything else, I don't care, but if you don't like Disney, sorry. Or we're
You
leaving
can't
you
sit with us.
behind, we're gonna save some money on our trip, leaving you behind.
And then you could pay
And
for the person that you wanna take.
yes, so I'll take the little girl that didn't think she could go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Whitney, what is your best marketing advice for somebody that's wanting to get into being a travel agent?
Oh, so I would say it's hard when you first start, unless you just know a
100%.
ton of people off the bat that wanna book trips, but definitely being consistent with posting and not necessarily posting the same things, like, you wanna be relatable to people, like, let them know you're a real person with a real life. Like, I don't just share my travel business on my page. At first, I had 2 separate accounts, and then I was like, "That's too much work for me," and so I literally am just like, "Nope, this is me." Like, you get to see all of me on this page. You see me as a mom, as a teacher, me training for a marathon, you see me as the travel agent, all the different things that I do. I'm sharing my kids on there too. I know some people that's a little bit iffy, but me, I'm like, I'm not popular enough to worry about that. So that's
Yeah.
okay for me. But just being consistent with your posting, even though it's hard. And like I said, when I'm on trips, struggle, but I'm in stories. So I'm
Yeah.
either one or the other. But I try to be consistent in my stories each day too. I may only have like 3 posts in my stories, but I try to get something up there. And then at least every other day, I'm posting, a post that's actually gonna stay on my page. And then making sure you're not just stuck on, like, just TikTok or just Instagram
Yeah.
or whatnot. I've dabbled in TikTok, but I'm still, like, I'm more comfortable on Instagram, so that's where I
Yeah.
hit it hard, and then my Instagram is linked with my Facebook because why would you create more work for
For
yourself?
sure.
Don't do that, and ChatGPT will be your best friend. You just have to train it really well to get to know you, your ideal client, and all of that, and it will help you so much.
Very cool tip. We haven't had a Chat GPT tip, so that is really
Yes,
cool to
like, a
train
lot
it.
of my posts thank you, ChatGPT. I will tell it
Nice.
exactly what I'm looking for. Sometimes I will be like, "I want you to say this, 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 and this," and I've had it, like, ask me questions to get to know me and like who I'm kind of trying to target as my ideal
Yeah.
client. And then it tries to kind of play on that. And it'll ask me, like, do you want this to be more playful or more meaningful or this or that? And sometimes I don't want to post that is travel agent related. I'm like, don't make this travel agent related. This is like just a 4th of July post, like, but I wanted to include this, this, and this. And then it creates something. And if I don't like it, I just ask it, can you make it say this? Can you take out this and swap that? And so I get it to something that I really like, and then I just copy. and paste. And
Wow.
it's so much easier than me trying to sit there for 30 minutes thinking of like, okay, how do I want to word this? Like it just does all that
Brilliant.
thinking for me. And
Yes.
it's wonderful.
Brilliant. Anybody listening?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Not just for
It'll be
travel
your best
agent.
friend.
Not
It
just for
really
travel
will.
agent. I love that so
Yeah.
much.
And then there's so many people now, like I like thought I was cool because, someone helped me figure that out. And then I'm like saying something to my husband, and my husband's like, he uses ChatGPT, and I forgot what the one is called for like the Microsoft, but he uses a bunch of them, and it like helps him write his reviews on people and stuff too. Like you can literally use it for all these things. And I'm like, I've been living under a rock all this time. Like I had no clue. And now I'm like,
Just
game changer.
typing away, not me. That's weird. Who does that?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause sometimes I'm like, I feel like I have these like great ideas, and then I'll start typing it out and I'm like, God, that sounds dumb. And I'm like, I want it to sound better. But yeah, Chat GPT it
Love
does it
that.
for me because I
We are
just
going to
tell
use
it
that
what
as
I
your
want it.
tip because that's a great tip. I love
I
that so
really do.
much. That is your tip. So the
Yeah.
last question for you is what does being a money hungry mama mean to you?
So I feel like you're a mama, but you've got a lot of ambition. Like you're a mom first, but you also want to be more than just a mom. And maybe you have a job that, contributes to the bills and the whatnot, but maybe you want a little bit more of something. And so you do something else. It could just be you just want to do something that fuels your passion. That's this. Am I making a ton of money doing this? No. I'm making just enough to where I'm comfortable to keep doing it. And it allows me to go on more vacations, but also because I'm very passionate about it. So just doing something extra that really like, I don't know, just gives you more of like, I'm not just a mom. Like I'm also
Yeah.
a bad A. Don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here.
I'm a boss babe. I'm a
There
boss
we go.
babe.
There we go. I'm really bad. I cuss like a sailor. Sometimes I feel like it's like the teacher, like you can't cuss all day. And then I get home and I'm like, well, it's like really bad. And so I like try to
It's so
tone it
funny
down.
because I feel like it's almost every single episode everybody's like, I don't know if I can curse on here. And honestly, I don't know if you can curse on here. I don't know what the rules are of podcasting. So I just
We'll
smile
just
and say, okay,
keep it
we're
safe.
gonna keep it PG.
Yes.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh, Whitney, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on today. Where can our listeners support you?
So I am on Instagram and TikTok, and my handle is at adventures dot with dot Whitney. So a little period in there. And then on Facebook, I've got just my name, Whitney LeBaron, and then like a hyphen, a space, and then Castle Explorers Travel Advisor. And yeah, or just my regular Facebook, just Whitney LeBaron.
Remember, for anybody that's listening that does other hustles and we got you into wanting to take your kids to Disney, booking a travel agent is completely free. It does not cost you any money whatsoever. Disney is already paying them. So it literally costs you $0 to use a travel agent. So just keep
Yep.
that in mind.
And we can help as much or as little as you want. There's people that are like, I like planning my own trips. You can plan your entire trip. You can book it under me and just make your payments through me, and my hands are washed clean. Like you do the rest. But I mean, if you have to make a change to something, just let me know and I have to do it for you. But you can do the research. You can see if your room qualifies for a promo. I don't have to do that for you. You can do that and you can let me know and then I can make the change. But you can book your own dining. You can book your own lightning lanes, this, that, and the other. That makes my life a whole lot easier. But I'm here for those that do want that help because there's some people that have no clue.
Yeah,
So,
and honestly, I will say this. If anybody is listening and we have kind of pulled on that Disney heart, if you have never been to Disney before, please book with a travel agent that knows what they're doing because I promise you, I will never forget this family standing outside the Be Our Guest and they asked for a reservation not knowing you needed to book months in advance. So that kills me to this day. So if you have never been, this is your sign to book with a travel agent. They are completely free and they will handle everything for you. Awesome.
yeah,
Whitney, thank you so much.
you're welcome.